Welcome to another very special episode of Cue It Up with the Q Brothers Cine-Maniac edition. Ralph, I'm digging that music. That's not our typical theme. What's going on?
Well, it's our new, we're pandering to the Indian film market.
So we are kissing up to the Indian film market.
Yes, and we get a lot of views from the Indian film market.
Yeah, we have no qualms about
comments.
That. And comments, yeah. Right. We love those comments. So, and one of the reasons why we're doing the special Cue It Up is Ralph actually works with somebody who has written movies for Indian cinema, and that's the third person on our show. Ralph, please introduce our guest.
Let me introduce our guest. This is Amar Tipnis. Hello, Amar. How are you?
Good, Ralph and John. How are you guys?
We're doing fantastic, Amar.
Yeah,
Summer
so I work
without
with
the S.
Amar also works with our old friend Uncle Al, who's the original Yippee-Ki-Yay podcaster. And when all this Indian stuff started coming up, we started talking, and I find out that Amar has written an Indian film. We're going to watch the trailer for that. I don't know if it's the only one you've written, Amar, or if you've written more, or what's your story? Tell us your story quickly.
Well, I'm an Indian American, and I was born and brought up in the United States. I was raised in Maryland. And then in 2010, I went to Bombay to try my hand as a screenwriter. So I wrote a film, which was, I would say, about 90% completed. And it was scheduled to have a big release, and then they shelved it. And I kind of struggled a bit. And then the second movie is the trailer you'll be seeing is the second movie. So first on the books, second actual film.
Okay, so this was the second of the two.
Yeah.
And this one got produced.
This one got produced. And I've also written a TV series that has just been completed and hopefully getting released next year.
In India or here?
In India. Okay. On a streaming service in India.
So, Amar, I wanted to ask you, okay, so you were born here.
Yes.
You want to be a screenwriter. And so did you ever think of writing a screenplay in the US, or what made you say, you know what, I'm going to go to India and write for India? What was that behind that?
I think there's two reasons. One was possibly I wanted to really kind of bridge that gap between what American cinema and Indian cinema, because I think I used to always see a lot of Indian films where they're trying to emulate what they're doing here, and I thought I could bring that Western sensibility that they were looking for. And the second reason was it's much easier to make a contact, to meet somebody of importance in the Indian film industry than it is here. I mean, you have to go through so many channels and through so many hurdles. Whereas there, you could I kid you not, I met with one person and they're like, "Oh, I know the father of this film director, and I can introduce you." And that's how you get the meeting. It's just that simple, So it was just I knew a lot more people who knew the right people,
Okay, well, I want to show the trailer for his film, okay? And then when we come back after our reaction to that trailer,
we're going to do a trailer reaction.
I think we're going to have some good reactions to that trailer. I want to chat with you a little bit about this thing that we've fallen into, like this culture thing about the Indian films, and why it charged us up, and why they're watching our stuff, they're commenting on our stuff. Yeah. It's kind of amazing. So, but
and every time we post a movie, they give us 10 recommendations.
Yeah.
Of what we should watch.
And every time we do what they recommended, they already switched to the next one. They're like, good, you did that one. Here's the one you really should
watch this one. You'll really like this one.
And also, Amar's friends with the guy who was in Three Idiots, the guy who played the student who was a pain in the ass, that kid.
Oh,
yeah.
I loved that movie. That's my favorite movie that we've watched so far. And that kid, I don't know if he's a kid or not, but he was great. You hated him. You felt sorry for him. Yeah. And then at the end, you kind of laughed at him when he realized what was going on. He was great in that. I really enjoyed him. That movie was great. Love that movie.
Yeah, and I also think you knew people that were on some of the other films that we saw that I talked to you about. But first, let's watch your trailer. I can't pronounce the name of this film because there's a dirty word in the middle of it. I can't quite figure out what's the name of the film.
It was originally called Ascharyachakit,
Okay.
Which basically translates to surprise. So it's like a slang term, is like surprise fuck it type of thing.
Now, did you bring the Western sensibilities to this movie that you're talking about that we're about to see?
I tried to. I don't know how well it came across, but yeah, I tried to.
Well, I'm going to say I've seen the trailer. John hasn't, so I can't wait to see his reaction. It's definitely different than any of the other films we've seen so far. I'll just say that. So let's see if we can share the screen.
Let me put my glasses on so I
take a look at this thing.
First of all, when you told me about this, I didn't know you had written this.
I love a disclaimer at the front of this already.
एक बदन दो बॉल एक कमर एक चूक एक कान.
No subtitles on this thing.
No subtitles again. So we get a.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Oh yeah. That's definitely different than we've been watching.
No symbolism there either, right?
No. Oh God, they have such wonderful hair.
Do we have trains going into tunnels in this trailer?
They all have great facial hair and great heads of hair. It's unbelievable.
Oh, there is a train.
Oh, there's the train.
तेरा दिल आज मुझ पर आया है, कल किसी और पे आएगा. बाद में क्या मेरे को तो हिलाते ही बैठना है.
Yeah.
मुझे जहाँ जाना है वहाँ पहुँचने
Definitely different.
तुमको नहीं निकलना ना उस दुनिया से.
शादी के बाद तूने मेरे को बेचा तो.
आज रात के बाद.
Amar, whoa! I like what I'm seeing here.
मामूली रंडी नहीं. स्पेशल माल बनेगी स्पेशल.
Oh, hierarchy, sex, murder. I saw a little bit of that. Oh, damn.
रानी की हैसियत है तेरी. उस दुनिया में जाएगी तो चिदाल बन के
Wait, those words go by too fast. I can't even read them.
उसके साथ सोना है. हम ये जंबो सर्कस में.
Is that all from the same scene, all that sex scene, or are there multiple sex scenes?
Yeah, look at that. Nice. Nice.
Yeah. All right.
There's definitely some Western influence in that.
I'll say.
I am taken aback because the one thing I've noticed about all the movies we watched, the sex stuff is really tamped down. I mean, it's like non-existent. And that didn't look tamped down at all. Now, maybe that's all that happens, but that looked pretty hot, I got to tell you.
And that was on Netflix, right? That just left Netflix?
Oh, I think it's still on Netflix.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It is, yeah.
Take a look. So, I mean, tell us about this a little bit. I mean, what was the process?
Because I didn't get a lot. I mean, I know there's a pimp, there's a prostitute, there's a superstar,
movie star.
But the words were flying. I saw hierarchy, I saw murder, I saw prostitution. So it flew by. I'm not getting a gist of what this movie's about.
Give us just plot synopsis, and then.
So basically, it's about like the pimp, the prostitute, the actor, and the driver, and how their stories kind of collide. So the way the story unfolds is like you see each story from that character's perspective. So you see it first from the prostitute's perspective, then you see it from the superstar's perspective.
The same scene, the same scenario from
like
their
Rashomon.
There's certain like overlap and everything, and then there's like a cliffhanger point where all the stories converge. And then you kind of go into the climax of the film like that.
Climax. So, did you have to? We saw the champagne bottle. How long is the film?
It's about 90 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, very short.
Okay.
Very short.
We could watch it twice.
I'm already telling you, I'm going to definitely watch this movie if you're telling me it's 90 minutes. Now, the big question is, were you happy with the end result of the film?
The thing is, what it is I wrote it in English. So I wrote the script in English, the dialogues in English and everything like that. So I'm not so well versed in the Hindi language. So we had to get a dialogue writer. So I think what happened was a little bit of the nuance kind of got lost in the whole thing. So I think that is where, I kind of have a little bit of that thing. Is like, I wish like a little of those characterizations, but overall, I mean, when we were pitched the idea of the film, they told us, don't worry about censorship, don't worry about, because this was 2016, and they told us is that we're just selling it directly to Netflix, so you don't have to worry about the Indian censor board or anything like that. So do what you want to do. You want to put in the most foulest language you can do it. And I had written, like, the first scene of the movie was kind of like a litmus test, was I'm going to put, dialogues about, oral sex, and I'm going to put dialogues about this, and I'm going to put dialogues about that. And if you can get past that, then that's the zone of the film that we're getting. So you get that out
right away. You just
first
scene. Okay.
Yeah, because my thing was like, I just don't want to like lead and I don't want to lead the audience into thinking like they're watching one thing and then it's
right
into something else.
That trailer's pretty provocative. I mean, if it's any indication of what's in the film, it looks like it's going to be pretty sexy. Now, did you have to throw warnings up when people are smoking, all that stuff we see all the time?
No, because
straight to Netflix.
It didn't go to the cinema.
It didn't go to the cinema, so it went. Yeah,
I love the imagery of the popping champagne, the trains. I mean, they weren't subtle about it at all.
No.
I think that's the point.
No, I remember the director calling me and saying is that he said, we're having champagne in a bathtub. Write me something with those types of things. And I was like, okay, I'll do what needs to be done to write. So, yeah.
So when you watch, I guess it's subtitled when you watch it, right? I haven't seen it, so we're going to take a look. How was the translation? How did you?
It's basically like my English to Hindi, and then back to somebody else's English. So it's not keeping with anything that was even in the original dialogue. Like, I would say even the original dialogue had a sense of fun. Like the Hindi dialogue had a sense of fun in it.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humor, which kind of gets lost in the, so the dialogue, like if you read it, it doesn't, you're kind of like, really? But those who have watched it in its Hindi dialogue, they're like, okay, I get it. It's kind of, it's fun. It's this, but it's kind of like three versions away from what I had originally written.
Lost in translation. That's
lost
like
in
looking at a manual.
Is the Hindi version available on Netflix?
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like it's just that the subtitles won't do justice to the dialogues of the film in the Hindi version. So I would say watch it and enjoy it, but it's not really bringing the true tone of what the dialogue.
Hey, this is a movie I can watch when I work out, because I don't have to work out for 3 hours to watch the movie. So I'm going to definitely watch this one. But overall, I mean, look, the fact that you even got it made is a humongous deal. So whatever they did, you still got to be thrilled with that. But overall, you were happy with the end product of it.
I mean, like the thing is I got an opportunity, and the production company, the director, everybody was very supportive of like any idea that you threw out at them. It's like they never said no.
Yeah,
and that's something you could just always I've heard horror stories about other screenwriters who are like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. And, I was very fortunate that they were, very supportive. They had an open dialogue through and through the whole thing.
All right, now let me ask you this. Do you think there's any chance this could be remade in the U.S.?
It's a good question. Because, the thing is...
Because you wrote it in English, right?
Yeah, I wrote it in English. But I think, it's about Bombay in itself, Mumbai. And so, there's like a tag, or there's like a title card in the film, in the trailer, it says inspired by the works of Sadat Hasan Manto. So he was like a prominent writer in the 1920s or 30s. And he wrote about Bombay, and he wrote about the prostitutes, and he wrote about the class divide between the lower people and the higher people, and how there's that kind of, even though they're separated by wealth, they're no different in morals. So I think it could possibly translate into the English, but I think it's a very
but you wrote it
Indian story.
uniquely. You wrote it uniquely for the location, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the culture. It sounds
Yeah.
like. Yeah, I got you. Well, that never stopped Hollywood from remaking stuff.
That's true.
They'll just set it in New York, right? Or L.A. No,
New
that's
York
great.
in
I
the
mean,
cen-
that's
New York in
really
the center.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
is there
really
another
exciting.
one in the
Congratulations
works?
on that.
You got another one you're going to write?
I just finished writing a TV series.
Oh,
So
right.
it's like an 8-episode television series. So this one, it's with a pretty prominent actor from, like, he's still prominent. I wouldn't say he ever went away. He would probably say he was like the Sylvester Stallone of Bollywood cinema from.
Okay.
So
That's
like,
pretty prominent.
He's a big action star. So, you know, and I think a lot of like these older actors, they're looking for the streaming sort, like,
Right.
you know, to kind of make their comeback, so to say. So, yeah.
And this has already been produced? I mean, this is done?
It's done. Yeah. It's shot. It's everything. It's just waiting a release maybe early next year.
And that'll stream on something we can watch?
No, unfortunately,
Oh.
I won't even be able to watch it. So it's like on my Indian only streaming service.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. But that's exciting too. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, so Ralph, let's get into this whole Indian cinema thing because so I don't know if you know the whole story about this, Amar, but we've been doing a podcast, which, you know what, if you're a movie fan, it's a good podcast. It really is. We've talked movies for like a couple of years now. Everyone brings a movie they haven't.
Well, I've been doing it for 5.
You've been doing it for 5, but it hasn't been good till I started coming on it. But anyway, but we got hardly any views. So we started doing this show where bring something you've never seen. And it was like, it was kind of exciting because it's a 50-50 shot whether or not you're going to like the movie you picked. So nobody really knew. Well, the movie RRR has been all over the internet. Like there's a guy I watched, a Critical Drinker, who I love, and he said this is the best movie you've never seen. So I was planning on watching it. Well, one of the guys brought it on the show, and we watched it. And first of all, I had never seen in a Bollywood, Tollywood, an Indian movie. Never seen one.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what to expect, and I was freaking blown away by it. But what happened was I posted it at 10 o'clock at night. Now you got to remember, we average a good film. We get about 250 views, and we never get comments, and we never get likes, including the 6 people that are on the show. Okay. So it's always 2 people who like it. So I post this at 10 o'clock. By 9 o'clock the next morning, we had 3,500 hits and all kinds of comments. Well, it went up to 27,000 hits with 150 comments. It just blew us away. So they recommended a movie. We said, hey, why don't we try another one? And they're just a rabid fan base that is embraced. And that's why we changed the theme of it. And that's why we went to Indian Cine-MANIACs. And I'm just trying to understand this culture.
Now let's we're still doing the other show.
Yeah.
And we're still getting the same amount of views on the other show, meaning that the 150, 68. So our Indian fans aren't switching to the other show.
Right.
Either.
They're not watching the other stuff. But we like, because listen, as much as I love the Indian films, I don't want to watch Indian films for the rest of my life and only talk about that. I still want to talk about the classic films that I love. But you can't deny that the response to what we're doing with these Indian films has been overwhelming, including the comments. We're having back and forths with all these people, and they're subscribing to the channel. They're recommending all these movies. And I'm trying to understand, after talking to some people about this, that there's an untapped group out there that want a lot of this content, as I'm starting to look at other YouTubers that kind of do the same thing. And they're finding the same thing too, that they're just embracing this. Any thoughts behind that? Why that's happening?
You know, I mean, I think one thing is probably to find the perspective of guys like you, Western audience people, like non-Indian Western, because I think for so long, like the idea of what Indian cinema was probably Satyajit Ray, those types of films where, you know, it's very serious and everything like that. And there's a completely different facet. Like it's just not defined by that. You know, and I think there's a very, very hardcore love for cinema in itself. And I think, you know, they're trying to look to see like, oh, does somebody else kind of appreciate the same type of cinema that we're doing, because I think there's a lot of knocks saying it's like bubblegum cinema. It's just all song and dance. But you watch a film like RRR, like I went in with very middle to low expectations, and I was just completely blown away by the sheer audacity
right,
of the filmmaking. Like, he just threw the kitchen sink, and he threw every single kitchen sink that he could find, and he got away with it. And I think that's great. It's like you can't see some of those things, like even in current cinema here, like,
right.
You can't, and there's a certain little level of emotional, what's the word? Weight in the film. It's like you buy the friendship, you buy those things, and I've not seen a movie where I'm so invested in the friendship of those two guys at the same time of the action and all of those things. It was like, I think it was like pure cinema at its pure commercial cinema, I would say.
Well, it was funny because I agree with you, because I think like the French, and I've seen that in a few of these movies. The friendship between the men reminded me of like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That relationship, they don't do that anymore.
No,
because there's something.
Your Marvel films started getting into that.
Yeah,
the
but
friendship I'm talking about, and I don't watch these films, but I noticed Iron Man, Steve, what's his name, Captain America.
Steve
Rogers. They were a little bit into that. It's
but
the
not
unabashed
like
sentimentality of
that they love
films.
each other, right? That they really outwardly love each other.
Well, it looks they definitely.
And there's nothing untoward about it. No. You know what I mean? It's not like sexual or anything. It's just, and that's the same thing with the Three Idiots. I felt the exact same way about that. But what for me, first of all, the stunts that they do were just incredible. And that movie, especially RRR, because I did not know this happens in Indian movies, that freaking Nacho dance number that just came out of left field, and how amazing the two guys were in their dancing, that blew me away, because I totally was not expecting that. Now, when I watch these movies, I'm waiting for the big production number that seems to be in all of them. And that seems to be something. Now, we got in a lot of trouble because Ralph mentioned, because at one point during that dance number, they slow it down a little bit. You can see that. But people said it looks like they also sped it up to make them look like, just speed up. And we brought that up, and people freaked out. They didn't speed that up. That's really what they're doing. Now, I don't know if they did or not, because if you look at the background people look normal speed. So maybe they sped it up. They definitely slowed it down. But I've watched that thing. I even showed my wife, who didn't see the movie. She goes, "Are you watching that dance number again?" I said, "Yes," because it's forget about like a Broadway musical, or it's just one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, because also was so unexpected. And you look at those two guys who are these, I don't know their careers, but they're big action stars in this movie, and they're dancing like they've been dancing their entire life. And again, that, from what I understand, is kind of typical of the performers in these movies, that they do that stuff. So it was such a nice surprise.
But it's also, to be fair, you can't get away with that in Western films. You just can't get away with that unabashed sentimentality. The fact that musical numbers pop up, unless it's a musical we're watching, Grease or whatever. But, I've come to now enjoy, like we just watched Padmavat. And that's a completely different movie than RRR, but it's still earnest in its own way. There's beautiful, gorgeous dance numbers. There's gorgeous dance numbers in Three Idiots. I mean, this comedy.
Well, that Zooby Dooby, that's another one I keep playing over and over again. I just love that number.
Right.
Yeah. But like Ralph, like we watched Singing in the Rain, and Ralph bitched the whole time. Oh, they walk in a room and they just start singing. Now it's like, oh, that's so magical the way they do that.
Right.
We are very cynical. I'm not, because, one, I love musicals. I've been in musicals, so I look at it differently. But when you watch a movie like RRR, you're not expecting a big, beautiful musical number. You just not.
Three Idiots with that umbrella dance.
That's what I mean. That was Zooby Dooby.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. And even the scene before the kid hung himself was a real upbeat, positive number with all the guys, right? This joyous number. And then the tonal shift that happens a lot in these movies that we've been watching. It's like a gut punch. It was like one minute you're like all happy and enjoying yourself. Next minute you're looking at someone committing suicide. And I'm finding that in a lot of these movies too, the tonal shifts. And one of the viewers said, Western audiences can't deal with tonal shifts, but that's what happens in life. And right. I'm going, you know what? That's a great point. That is absolutely right. But for me, that's the one that really and out of all the movies we've watched, I think we've watched about 6 or 7 of them. The Three Idiots is the one that I love the most, because I was the most invested in the characters in that movie, and the actor Amir Khan. Mm-hmm. I've done such a deep dive on that guy. To me, he was amazing in this movie, and I'm starting to do all this research on him, and I'm going to talk about method acting. Yeah. This guy is the real deal. So I can't wait to watch. Like PK is a movie I want to watch. That one where he was fat at the beginning and then became this Hulk. The wrestling one, isn't it?
Dungle.
That's the one a lot of viewers are saying to watch. But I watched the transformation, and I'm like, my God, this guy's incredible.
And now he's Forrest Gump.
Yeah. Well, and everyone's saying don't watch the Forrest Gump. They're saying don't watch it.
But has anybody recommended Lagan to you?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I think that that was like, if you have that same reaction about RRR, you're gonna like full investment into a film. You won't find anything like Lagan. Like
really,
and it's 4 hours. I warn you, but it is worth it. Like it's a really well made film. Like it'll hold you, and it's about cricket, and you may not know anything about the sport.
I know a little bit about it, but
you will be cheering by the end of the film.
Is he one of the biggest stars?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, as I was because I read he'll only do one movie at a time, where a lot of actors will do more than one because he's so finicky. He's a real method, like De Niro, I guess. Yeah. But I saw him in interviews, and he's so likable. Now I do want to ask you: there's another actor called Shakur something Khan.
Shahrukh Khan.
And do they not like each other? Because
I think the press always tries to make it seem, because there's essentially three in the late 90s to early 2000s. There was 3 Khans. There was Amir Khan, there was Shah Rukh Khan, and then there was Salman Khan, and they all came up around the same time. They were each one was making like one big film after the other, so they were kind of having like this.
They were in competition.
Yeah. So now I think it's kind of all. They're a little older, so they're
all in their mid to late 50s, right?
Yeah.
Because when he made Three Idiots, he was 44.
Yeah,
and he certainly didn't look 44.
No.
Yeah,
all those guys played young and old very well.
Well, that was amazing too. That when they did the flashback scenes, I don't know what they did or how they did it. Maybe it was just hairstyles, but they really did look younger than their older selves. It was pretty amazing, the difference. Yeah. Like your friend really transformed from the flashback to the present day. And I was like, is that the same guy?
Yeah.
So it was really neat the way they did that.
Yeah. I mean, I talked with him about it, and he said, I kind of had to shave a little, like shave my head a little bit and everything.
Oh, to make him look like he lost a little hair in the older scenes?
Yeah.
But is it just that they're so proud of their films, and they want everybody to see their films, that they see a bunch of old white American dudes watching their films, dudes and ladies, and they just love it? What's the story there? I don't quite get. Are there no people doing reviews in India on this stuff? Or
no, there are, but okay. I think what the thing is like, somebody gives it a bad review. Oh, that person doesn't know what they're talking about, and there's a lot of belief that the press has been bought, so a bad film will get a good review, and then there's just been bought and everything like that. So I think they may gravitate to you guys who are basically unbiased opinions, and they'll be like, these guys are coming in basically cold. Yeah. They don't know anything about South Indian films. They don't know anything about who Amir Khan is or anything like that. So you guys are basically just like a blank slate for them, and they want to just kind of see what you guys would think about the whole thing. And
they're proud. They're proud of the films. I mean, they want people in the West to see those films and appreciate those films, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, I think the production value is there. I mean,
that's insane.
If you do like the math, we're probably, RRR may be half the budget of a typical Marvel movie, but they make it seem like it's twice the budget of a Marvel.
Well, they put it all. I keep saying this over and over. They put it all on the screen. They don't waste a nickel. Making this stuff look great. Yeah, and and I'm getting more and more like I'm looking forward to these because I'm like the last one we just did was Padmavat, and I was worried because it's a historical thing. And and I finally just bought in and I rode the whole thing and loved it. And
I did not.
It's just such a. And I saw Cantera at the movie theater. I actually went to the theater to see that one and had a blast. Something I know nothing. I had no idea what was going on in the film. Not a clue what anything meant, and still was just.
I mean, you're asking about like the passion for South Indian films. For certain films, for certain actors. So like if you go to like London or even in London, but like especially in South India. So like they're very big on certain stars. They will tell the projectionist to, like when the big star makes an entrance in the film, they will tell the projectionist, stop the film, wind the film back so we can watch his entrance again. They will tell. They will do things like that. They will light fireworks in the theater. There are videos where you can see it's like if you put in first day, first show for one movie, you will just completely blow your mind. I mean, just to give you a little more background, is like in India, there's like the cheaper theaters where, like a lot of the people go to, and there's the ground floor where it's like you sit on the main audience, and then there's the balcony seats. Now, if you want the real experience, you have to sit with the ground level, because people are screaming, people are cheering, people are whistling, they're making comments. It's like the full immersive experience. And, that's the thing. It's like, you don't get those types of experiences. And I think like a film like RRR just gave you that experience. It's like, like even me, I'm like the most cynical film viewer. But the second that tiger leapt out of the back of the cage, I was like, holy,
That's a movie I wish I saw in the movie theaters.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that would be immersive. Like Cantera, when we saw it, I think the director did this on purpose. The audio in the first half was just ear-splitting.
Correct.
Because that's when he's introducing the yell that guy does, and it's supposed to shock you, and it did. And it'd be, it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show here. That's the only place you can go and scream at a movie theater here.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. Yeah. I mean, it's and the comments are thoughtful.
Yeah.
And affirming, like they really want you to see their films. They're very pleasant to us. Like there's one or two comments about me saying it was sped up, and it might have been a frame rate issue. I wasn't saying they didn't know how to dance, but that's the first film I had seen. I had no idea. Right.
Yeah.
And
they always say if you love that, you'll love. Here's the next 3 you need to watch.
Right.
It's pretty funny, and it's great, and we're like, thank you, because we really appreciate the recommendations. Like Padmavat, it was okay. I wasn't crazy about it. I'm just telling you, after watching the Three Idiots that I absolutely loved, we have another brother, Steve. I said, Steve, look, we watch a lot of Indian movies. Watch this movie and let me know what you think. All right, I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I saw him the next day. He goes, John, that movie was amazing. It was incredible. And I'm like, now you got to watch RRR. Now that you watch that, watch RRR. Because that's, I think any audience member would like that. Where some of the historical stuff, not everybody's going to go for it. Like Padmavat, I think historically, because I don't understand the politics behind it all. And that was a very controversial movie. So I'm not looking at it from that perspective. I'm looking at it, was I entertained during it? It was beautiful. It had some nice things in it, but I wasn't into the characters like I was with the Three Idiots. I mean, when I called Ralph afterwards, I said when the Three Idiots was done, I was like, I need this to go on for another hour. I want to know more about these guys, And I didn't feel that way with this last one, but it doesn't even matter.
Well, they were all dead.
Well, yeah, not all of them. They weren't all of them. Not all of them were dead. But it's just an amazing thing, and it's because when I think of Indian cinema, I'm thinking of 1970s Indian cinema.
Yeah.
It's schlocky and bad film. And now I'm looking at this stuff. I'm going, my God, the production values are amazing. The acting, again, Amar Khan. I'm going to watch his facial expressions are amazing to me. What he does with his eyes. Like even I saw some scenes from PK where he doesn't talk that much, and everything's with the face and the body language. So I'm looking to watch a lot more of his movies because I'm fascinated by the guy, and I'll probably take a look at some of the other guys too. But anyway,
nobody's talked to you about Amitabh Bachchan.
No.
He is the grand master of Indian cinema, like
top dog.
Actor, director, what is he? Actor?
He's an actor, so maybe 50 years he's been in the business, and he's still going strong. And
can you give us a recommendation for one of his top films?
The best of his. I mean, some people may disagree, but the one they go to is Sholay.
Sholay?
Sholay. And it was, I think, 1970 something. It is a Sergio Leone Bollywood film. So think Seven Samurai type of fistful of dollars.
Wow.
And there you go. It's really
all right,
well
we'll have
done.
to add that to the wheel.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Recommendation. Nice.
Yeah.
And I just have one more question. Ralph might have some others. What's up with all these guys being so jacked in these beautiful heads of hair that they have?
John,
what
they're
is
actors.
that?
Do you see
is
the
it
actors
real?
that
No.
Oh, yes.
Is
yes,
it?
yes, yes,
No,
yes.
listen. Ralph is totally in love with Brad Pitt. That's all he ever talks about. Okay, but their hair is just magnificent. The facial hair. They must get ripped for those scenes where they're not wearing a shirt, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember my first movie. The guy is supposed to be like a nerdy type of person, and the actor, he was still getting like built his muscles and everything because he wanted to just because he has to project that hero image.
Right.
So every character has to be larger than life, and the actors have to kind of just step up and become that larger than life character.
Yeah. Did you read about the guy playing the bad guy in Padmavat?
Yeah.
Like he was never played a bad guy before, and he needed therapy when he was done.
He locked himself in his hotel room for 2 months to get in the role.
Yeah.
But even again, I keep going. Amar Khan, he lost like 60 pounds, not 60 pounds, like 40 or 40 pounds to play the college kid in Three Idiots. Because he's normally jacked. So it's just, but their hair is just amazing. I don't know what that jet black. I'm so jealous of that, One of these shows, I'm going to just spray it all black just for our Indian audience. I bet you they'd appreciate that.
I'm sure.
But that's all that I have. I'm just fascinated by this whole thing, and it's really opened the door to a whole nother world of movies. We watch before we watch we really loved that movie. So then the next one we watch is RRR, and that opened up a whole nother door, and it's been wonderful. And I'm excited for you too that you got your stuff made. I can't wait to watch it, especially because it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah, I can't get over that. Now, if we review that one, you want to join us for that one? Can we review it in front of you?
Sure.
Okay.
Give me your unvarnished opinion.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't have many more questions. I was just more fascinated with, why they're so interested in what we think of the films. And I think it has to do with pride, which I totally understand, showing that they can make a great film, and they're definitely proved that. There's no question. And I want to see more of these, like that one about the blind piano player. I forget the name of it.
Andhadhun.
I love that film. Yeah. And, I was fascinated by that actor too, and the actress. The women that they use in these shows or movies are gorgeous. I mean,
just Kapoor there.
Stunning.
Kapoor in Three Idiots.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, she was great.
My God.
I think she's like I said, I think she plays Jenny in Forrest Gump, or the
Zuby Dooby.
Yeah, Robin Wright.
Yeah, she plays Jenny in Forrest Gump.
She does?
Right.
Oh, yeah. She should have been in your movie.
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen a little more of that, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, we got to see what's going on. There's a lot going on
I
in the
don't care
trailer.
what's
I
going on.
want
I
to see
saw the
what's
trailer. I
actually
see
going on.
I saw enough in the trailer. All right. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time and talking with us. It's really interesting. And congratulations on your success too. I think that's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And I'm wishing you guys also continued enjoyment of Hindi films.
Listen, if they keep commenting, that's all it takes is it's really the comments as much as the amount of views that we get. Because that means they're paying attention.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to be watching most of the shows, I guess. I can't really tell. So we're very appreciate that.
They're also really happy that we're watching these movies. After we watch them, they're like, we're so glad you watched that. Because they want us to love it like they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And if you guys ever need recommendations, I'm always happy to give some.
Listen, Amar, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but recommendations have not been a problem, okay? We must have 200 recommendations, and they're all like, when are you going to watch this one?
Yeah.
Well, considering they're all between 3 and 4 hours, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, you're talking about a 4-hour movie about cricket.
I'm going to watch that,
Ralph, I will tell you is that those 4 hours will go by because you will be with that movie 100%.
I'll watch it on my own if we don't watch it on the show.
No, I'll definitely give it a shot.
That actor fascinates me, and I want to see more of his stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, Ralphie, that's our special Cue It Up Cine-MANIACS edition, and that's really for our Indian fan base. Yeah. So thanks, everybody, for watching, and remember, like we always say, subscribe, smash the like button, and hit the notification button. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate you guys. Have a great week.
And Amar, thank you very much. We appreciate you joining us.
Amar.
I love the recommendations, and we can't wait to watch your film. What's the name of the film again? Say it. I want to hear that.
Ascharyachakit.
Chuck it. Yeah.
Chuck it is the censored way. Fuck it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So you wrote the swears in English, right?
Yeah.
And how do the swears translate?
Relatively good. I mean, I would say that Hindi swearing is a lot more colorful, but I learned one important lesson. Somebody once told me is there's never a holy shit that can be translated in Hindi. So I had to learn how to just take that out of not write that.
Oh. Yeah. The F word, is that one used?
F word is there. There's a bunch of different permutations and combinations that,
Now, some of the movies, just real quick before we go, but some of the movies have been slipping between Hindi and English, right? They like, especially the blind.
Hindlish, they call it.
What is it?
Hindlish.
So
They said that happens
Is
normally.
your film all Hindi or is it mixed?
I would say there's probably, I would say like 70% Hindi, 30% English.
Okay.
So,
but that's reality, right? In India, that's what they do.
Yeah, if you go in Mumbai, everybody's talking in between, like especially like the more like the more contemporary younger people, they're pretty much in English and everything like that.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. So,
well, how do you say thank you in Hindu? Do you know?
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad?
Yeah, Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad. Well, Dhanyavad.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Amar, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
I'll talk to you back at work. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. Good night.